Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Jason came into my office and he's all, there's 7 of us on the call. I was like, yeah, the call starts at 2:30 and it's 2:30. So we're just kind of sitting there. I was all, then talk to each other. Don't be afraid to talk to each other, guys. It's okay.
Tess was humming to us.
Yeah.
That's good, Hummer.
I don't.
I was having a staring contest with Melissa and Shannon. They won't blink.
They win.
Melissa always wins the staring
I've
contest.
added a couple of items to my vision board there. So I've got a word scramble of all the words and a very
Your life
and
will
a,
like
and a
that.
very deficient life wheel.
You got to
Nice.
fill it in.
The pretty pinwheel.
Oh. Ow.
How was everyone's weekend? Tell me some goodness before we jump into this.
Well, it was busy. I showed 2 houses in Marina and put an offer in on one, but there were multiple offers and we lost to a cash offer with a quick close. But I tried.
Were we still up there in the ranks if the cash offer falls through?
Yes, and he did say, if anything changes, he would reach out to me that, I did a good job representing my buyer and it was a very good offer. But I don't know if that's just the nice thing that they say, but hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
I did my first ever open house all by my lonesomes on Sunday.
How was it?
Only one person came. It was a neighbor from down the street that already had an agent. They had just moved there a couple months ago, but still, it was my first ever, and I had to at least just start one time. So
There you go.
Did it.
I like it because that just tells me that getting out there, getting in the middle of it, and learning. That's amazing. Teresita, good to see your face. We have a visitor today, guys. Miss Orcutt's on the call. Don't scare her away.
Hi, Dan. Hi.
Did you get your house back on the market, Teresita?
It's going back on Wednesday. I have to wait. But I have another agent that want to see it tomorrow. So hopefully we don't have to put it on the market.
Did that other agent with the lady I referred to come out today?
No, they didn't like the area.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Thank you, though.
Awesome. What? Anything from the weekend that was you needed help with before we jump into the lesson? Anything we can help walk you through, guide you through?
I'm showing a townhouse tomorrow that's a rental that they haven't had a lot of luck with because it's hard for people to see by all the stuff that's in it. But it sounds like the issue with it is the 3rd bedroom is actually the garage that got turned into a bedroom.
Okay.
And they're trying to get permits after the fact with the city, but with COVID and everything, of course, they haven't.
Can
So
imagine.
I'm just wondering how that would play out.
So you can't sell it as a 3-2 if it's not technically a 3-2. So if there's no permits, it's not legal square footage. So that's definitely going to affect your appraisal amount. But there are some clients that don't care about it. So. Awesome, guys. Well, today I really want to kind of focus on the listing side of things where we're talking about how listings are going to have a lot better leverage to build your businesses around. And I think that new agents, and don't tell me if I'm wrong, you're new agents, you can tell me this, we gravitate towards buyers because they're easier. They're not as scary. Now, when I say take a listing, is it as scary as this is go show buyers some houses? for those of you who have not done a listing yet, here, I'll use Tess as my engineering backing. Tess, when I tell you go get a listing, does that terrify you?
It doesn't terrify me as much as I think in terms of I can't afford it because I don't have the money for the resources for
Okay.
marketing.
There you go. The marketing
So-
resources, the money, the upfront cost. There's
Yeah.
another thing that deters people from taking listing is the upfront expense. Now, when we talk about upfront expense, what would you imagine goes into? Give me a dollar amount for someone who has not taken a listing. How much do you think goes into taking a listing?
$750.
$750. You got a $750,
500.
$500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends.
Depends.
350. Yeah, picture. Yeah, like 400.
Is it possible for you right now as a Keller Williams agent to take a listing for no cost out of your dollar pocket?
Yes.
If you know how to negotiate with people to get things up front
Okay.
with a
There's
pay
part.
later, but I mean the
Upfront.
possibility is there if you're confident about that kind of thing. I'm not.
Well, there you go. We can work on how to put collection fees up front. What they call non-refundable retainers. Jason, what were you going with?
Yes, you can, as far as no cost, because you can borrow from people that already have signs or lock boxes or something like that. Yes, it won't be your name, but you can still get a listing and get it up there.
Well, what about the photos, Jason? Don't I have to pay for photos?
You can also do those at the end of escrow as well.
So sometimes you don't need. I'm never going to advocate for you going out there with your cell phone and taking pictures, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes that just happens to be the market of the moment. We got to get there. Now, to properly market a property, yes, you're in the 500 to 750 range because you're paying for photographs, you're paying for advertisements, you're paying for signs, you're paying for everything up front. And that's just going to get the market sold. Now, right now, do you need to spend that much money in marketing? No. If it's got 4 walls and a roof, you can probably sell it. It doesn't even need to look pretty. I just got photographs of a house, and I love Annette for taking this listing on, that it's going to take a couple of layers of Kills primer to paint these walls again. They're so dark. Bright purple, bright green, gorgeous colors, just incredibly difficult to paint over. It's still going to sell. Now, when we get into listings, it's super important that we know the process at a high level and know you have the support to get there. If you don't know what you're doing, reach out. I can help walk you through it. One of the broker staff can walk you through it. One of our other senior agents on the PC group can walk you through it because we've got a couple that have done a few listings to help you get through these processes. But ultimately ask questions. I want you guys to understand the documentation, what forms are going to be needed in each situation, as well as how to get it in the MLS. And I think once we get past a lot of the unknown that is behind taking a listing, it's one less hurdle in your mental gateway of getting you to taking more listings. What if I told you listings were easier than buyers? Would you believe me?
So true.
So true.
You don't
Because
have to run
buyers-
around the county.
Go ahead, Robin.
You don't have to run around.
It's way more fun.
But I like listings because I help one person figure out one problem. I'm not trying to juggle multiple houses. I think if we get into listings first and then we find our way into buyers, we're like, oh, okay. But unfortunately, buyers are always easier because they don't cost anything but time and effort and gas. When you're taking a listing, I'm going to use the system. I've got my documents in, so please, we're just going to look at the documents for what they are and the title of them, not the system behind it. How to fill out documents in .loop, DocuSign, or any of the other systems out there are different classes at different times. I just want to go over each one of the forms. So I am actually going to break this off of my computer, close all of you down so I'm not slowing my internet. And we're going to jump into a list of documents that are needed for transaction. Oh, I got to take over host. I'm not the host yet. Now I'm the host. I can talk to you again. Now I'm important. Kidding. Not even close. All right. Thumbs up if you can see my Google Chrome that has a bunch of document names on it. All right. This is not the order that your forms need to be in your template. However, it's a really good starting point. Eileen's walking into my office right now, so I get to see her on the call and in person. That's awesome. Currently, the code is 1111. That's for the garage door. Cool. So, first and foremost, you can come say hi. I know people don't ever get to see your face. Hey, look, she's real.
They don't have it yet.
They got it in the title report, so it's on the link in the thing that title sent them. So this is a good list to have. Start creating a template base now so you can have all your documents in one place, and then you can delete the ones you don't need. What you're always going to need: a real estate election and disclosure, your listing agreement, your residential profile sheet. Don't take a picture of it, Jason. I'll send you a list. Did you know paint? And that means it was built in 1978 or newer or older. Older than 1978, there's a potential lead-based paint. It has to have one of these forms before you can ever go live in the MLS. If it has an HOA, then you need to have an HOA form, and it is best advised to have this filled out and signed by the seller when you're doing your listing packet so that you can put it in the MLS. More than likely, you're going to be doing a coming soon, because if you sign a listing agreement, it is intended that in 24 hours, you're going to go live in the MLS. Typically, that's not the case. So you want to have a coming soon, exempt delay. We're going to do a high-level overview of all the forms. Mainly, I'm going to focus on your listing agreement profile sheet coming soon. Every file has a wire fraud advisory, right? Every file has a market conditions advisory, right? If it's close to an airport, you have to have the notice of regarding vicinity of an airport. I will show you how to find this information in a second, okay? On-site wastewater and treatment, we skipped one. The residential seller's property disclosure statement. This is the SPDS. This form is not fillable through you. You have to print it, hand it to your sellers, or email it to them and have them print it and fill it out and send it back. It is not digitally fillable. If the house has septic, also known as on-site wastewater, septic or some kind of other alternative, you have to have this addendum as well. Consent to limited representation is not a form that you must have. It's always a good idea to have it in place in the event that you do have a listing that is picked up by one of our buyers at Keller Williams that you want to be able to show it to others. So might as well have the consent to limited representation filled out. If it has a pool, this is just the pool safety notice. And then the rest of the forms I have in here just because you're going to need them throughout the process. The status report form is to change the price, to change it to canceled or anything like that. Multiple counteroffer, very easy to identify by the name, addendum 1, and the residential buyer's inspection BINSR, right? I have those in here because you're going to need them once you go live. But starting off, the very first thing, the real estate election and disclosure, this is the form that's just outlining the agency that you have with your sellers. You're going to want to fill out all the information you are going to put on everything. So firm name, Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. We are not Keller Williams Realty. We are not Keller Williams. We are not Keller Williams AZ. We are Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. That is the legal name. Please use it. If you have an Apple phone or an Apple computer, you can do a quick text, and it's pretty awesome. Watch. See KWSA? It types it for me. Those are one of those brilliant things. You can fix your life, make it easy. Or you can save them in your templates. You are authorizing yourself to represent the seller as the seller's broker. We are not representing as the buyer's broker, not right now. This is just the listing. And we're going to show the seller's property to buyers represented by the buyer's firm, Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. So make sure we check 4142 and identify the seller. Any questions? Cool. We're going to spend a lot more time in the next form. This is the big scary listing agreement. Who's scared right now? Raise your hands. Love it. You guys are brave. Good people. The listing agreement is very, very easy to go through. Starts off by just saying you have the exclusive right to sell property. The term the agreement's going to be in, the day that you get the listing signed is what we're going to put here. Notice how it's today's date. I don't want it to say the 26th. That is, I don't want you guys to fill out a listing for the future. Like, hey, we're going to go live on November 1st, so we're going to put the listing date November 1st. Because if you're doing all this preparation and setup beforehand, and they sell the house to the neighbor on October 30th, you don't get paid. It has to be the day that they sign and you're taking that listing. And then the expiration date is dependent on you and the client. Sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year. It's up to you and the client, whatever you choose. All right, real property address. This is where we're going to start getting into the information. All right, we are going to go with a property here in town. Who's got a listing coming up? Annette, what is your address?
Okay, it's 7224 East 34th Street.
Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm actually going to go to the Pima County Assessor's search. I'm looking for the parcel search. This is going to bring up 3 different ways of searching. I can search by last name, I can search by address, and I can search by parcel code. This is for Pima County. This is not for Cochise County. Cochise County is a little different. For those of you who are out there, they have a similar searching feature. It's just not nearly as laid out. So we're gonna start off with the number because we're gonna search a street. So it's 7224 East 34th Street. We see it right here, and we're gonna click on parcel info. Right now, I get everything I need to fill out my listing agreement. I've got the owner's names, which is super important because we need to make sure that we are talking to the registered owners, the legal owners of the property. I have their mailing address. Is that important to have? Yes. Put that in your database. Update your notes. I have the legal description. Right? I have the actual physical address that we're looking for. And most importantly, I have the parcel ID. The parcel ID is also known as the assessor's number, the tax ID. The parcel number looks like a social security number because it's this cabinet, this box, that record. So what we can do is we can actually take all this information. So we've got 7224 East 34th Street. So we go phone numbers here, East 34th Street. This next one box is if you have a unit number or anything like that. We know it's in Tucson, Pima County, right? Notice how AZ is already filled in. You shouldn't be selling a house that's not in Arizona. And then 85730, thank you. Now the legal description, very easy. Just come up here, copy and paste it. I'd rather you copy and paste than try to transfer the information. Now, if it's been listed in the MLS before, a lot of this information is going to be there for you. So we've got 7224 East 34th Street.
I think the zip code is 10 done.
Yes, you're right. Where did I see 73? Oh, I looked at there. This is my bad. Good catch. I would have found it when I audited it. But we can see here that the house has been listed before. And if you have the MLS link here, you can click right here, Pima County GIS, and it takes you to the same page. What I will tell you, please do not rely on this information. And I say that because if the original agent put it in wrong and then agent number 2 copied it and agent number 3 copied it and you copied it, all 4 of you were wrong because agent number 1 screwed up. And you're just gonna be like, well, I took it out of the MLS. Okay. That's why at the bottom of the MLS, it says down here, information deemed to be reliable, but not guaranteed. It's not a perfect source. Plus a lot of things are moving and changing. Make sure you keep updated. So we're going to close this one down because we're using the other one. Now, we talked about exempt delay. Because we have a listing agreement for today, starting, we're not going to go live today or tomorrow. We need some time, get photographs, right? Make sure the house is cleaned up, walk them through the process. We need to select exempt delay. If it's a short sale or other, I have yet to use other. This goes over the features and the fixtures and personal property that stay with the house. Just like in our purchase contracts, it has all of that information in there. So make sure you're having a conversation with your sellers about what stays with the house so that there is no confusion. If they have a Ring doorbell and they don't want it to sell with the house, they need to take it off because it's on here now, right? It's attached to the home. Someone tell Jason Carlton not to call me in my PC class. Conversations to have with the seller. Are they leaving the refrigerator? Are they leaving the washer and dryer? Just so you guys can have that conversation right now. Other items of personal property included in the sale. Is there a storage shed in the back? Is there a pool house? Or is there a swing set? These are all things that we need to identify in our listing contracts so that we know what stays or what doesn't. Next, we got listing price. This is the market price, right? Where are we going in, Annette?
Like, when are we going live?
What's the price you guys put on it?
Oh, 270, sorry.
270, right? Simple.
Correct.
If you are doing the paperwork after the fact and you haven't had your meeting, you can fill this stuff in. Or you can fill in a big part of this and write this in after the fact. If you're going to print all your documentation and take it to your listing appointment, I would leave out the sales price because you're going to have that conversation with your sellers. We're going to go over how to actually do the listing appointment next. That's probably next week or on a Thursday call. But make sure you leave this, you have this information in head, or if you need to fill it out, or if you're at the time at the table, you can do so. Next, we have the non-refundable retainer. This is what we talk about. You can have the money brought up front. If you've got a big property or somebody's saying, hey, I want a 5-month listing or a 3-month listing, and that's it, great. I'm just going to need a $250 non-refundable retainer fee that shall be credited towards the total compensation or shall not, depending on what you choose. That way they'll pay you up front and we can get the order, the stuff ordered. I have never used a non-refundable retainer fee. It's your business decision. You guys get to make that choice on your own. Next is my favorite, 65 through 72 is our compensation, if you will. It's what we get paid for doing our work. And what can you guys already see filled out?
Your admin costs.
Your admin fee.
All right. I need somebody to explain that to me how I explain it. I've said it a million times. We cannot call it an admin fee. What can we call it?
It's an admin commission, right?
All right.
It has to be part of a commission.
Write this down. Additional commission to cover administrative costs. Additional commission to cover administrative costs. It's additional commission or compensation, if you want to use the exact term, additional compensation to cover administrative costs. And that's because we have a $125 transaction fee, a $65 E&O, which is $190. And then my cost to have my yard sign put out there. I already own my lock boxes. I take care of the photographs as part of my marketing. So my admin fees are about $269. Now I put it on every contract. If you do one, do all. That's how you want to look at it. But this is where we need to figure out, okay, we are collecting 6% or more, whatever you want, of the gross sales price and additional commission to cover administrative costs. And the split breaks out like this: 4% of gross to the listing broker and 3% to the cooperating broker. Yes, you can ask for more. It's your business. But you don't ever want to put a number over here because I have seen this. What does that mean?
You're getting $4 and the other person's getting $3.
Exactly. Trust me, the courts will favor with your seller and not you. But it says 7% up here. Yeah. Well, you just got paid $270 because they're paying you $4 here and $270 there. Good job. So that's what that means. If you guys are doing flat rates, put them here. I have seen some sellers saying, hey, I will pay the listing broker $2,500 to do the paperwork and then 3% here. So any questions?
So you said the 270 is what your E&O is already $65. Is that what you said? And then what's the other 100 and something that you mentioned?
Well, mine's 125 plus 65 would be 190. So if you want to just put that there, but I know my average cost on the rest of my listings is the other $79. That's the average cost. It put a sign in the ground, and the cost to get me out there to put the lockbox on the house. So
Gotcha.
whatever your business dictates, put it here. I tell you I collected on everything because I put it on every contract. Now we move in here. Within 60 days after expiration of the term, the seller accepts an offer from sale of somebody who came and looked at the property. You get to dictate what you put here. Could be 5 days, 30 days, 60 days, whatever the seller and you are going to agree upon. If they take an offer on the house with somebody who came in and said, yeah, I want to buy your house, Big Dan showed it to me, or they came in during that process, you get paid. If they cancel the deal and the buyers cancel and the earnest money is awarded to the seller, how much of that earnest money is getting paid to you? Right? A business decision, again, you can choose whatever you want. Close of escrow, roll brokers, all definitions that I advise you to please go read your contracts so you know what they say, you know what they are, but I'm just showing you what you need to fill out and look for. Right now, consents to dual limit agency should always be yes, because that way you're not going to alienate the other 400 of us. Does allow signs and marketing, does allow images, video, and still. Does allow us access to put on a key safe. Now, and if they want to put seller's coverage on the house, this is where 165 comes in. Yes or no? This is another one I would leave blank for the coffee table and we can talk about it at the table, right? Do you guys want to add seller coverage to your house and we talk about the benefits? A different class completely, but this is where you'd put it. We move on down. Public report. If they own 5 or less, so 6 or more lots, 5 or less in the same subdivision, mark no and leave the next one blank. If they have owned 5 or do own currently 6 or more, you need a public report. I have not run into that either. However, some of our agents have when they do massive amounts of deals. Now, mine already does not check for domestic well water because most of this Tucson is on city water, but you want to make sure that they're on a well or not. A lot of the Cochise County people will be indeed on wells. So that's going to be here. The property does have a well. That's just having a conversation with your seller and knowing the areas, knowing where the water source is. If there's a well water right, you want to make sure you transfer that. It's a 5-share split 3 ways, paid for by the first person on the 3rd Saturday. Whatever that agreement is, you write it here. Haven't had to yet, but you will. It's telling you what information is going to be needed. You got to keep got to get the insurance claim history report. Condition of premises has to stay in as it is and insured. Utilities got to stay on. If there's a lead-based paint, it has to be disclosed. And the rest of it is just boilerplate advisory stuff, so make sure you fill it out. Additional terms, if you're going to put anything in here, this is if you have a cancellation provision. In the event that the listing is canceled, premature to accepting an offer, seller agrees to pay $500 towards listing broker. You can use that if you have a really just mean seller that wants to be a jerk and tells you to get off your bum eating butt and get to work. You're welcome, Teresa. You needed a laugh. Okay, now we're going to acceptance. This is the acceptance of the contract, the listing agreement, seller's names, if there's 2 of them, all their pertinent information. It's important to get their information on here so that in the event that you are indisposed and not able to be reached or accessed, the broker or the brokerage staff can call your clients based on the information that is listed here. So this is not like, oh, I don't want the other side to see their information. This is an internal document. It's not going anywhere but the broker. So get their address, get their email, get their phone number, get it all, fill it out. That way, if we need to get in contact with them beyond you, we can. Now you'll see down here, it's already pre-filled in my template because this goes on everything. Our listing broker is Lisa Sullivan. Our company is Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. The company phone number and company email address needs to be your contact, your phone number, your email. Trust me, Lisa does not want to take listing calls from your clients, so put your phone number there, please. Listing agent, listing office, if you have a fax number, I do not. And then you, as an agent representing Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, are authorized to sign the listing agreements. So just have your name here. All right, that is the listing document in a hurricane fast. Any questions? Did I answer some questions along the way? Do you feel a little bit easier about it now? Where do we go get so someone tell me right now, where can I find the legal description?
The Pima County or the GCL or whatever webpage that was.
Okay, Teresa.
Yeah, the Pima County GIS website.
Yeah.
How do I get there?
There's a link in the MLS.
Okay, got link in the MLS. There's one. How's the second way?
Go to the main webpage.
Cindy, what was that?
gis.pima.gov.
gis.pima.gov. Or Google Pima County Assessor Search. That right there will tell you a ton of information. If you haven't played around with it, now we're going to go back to my screen share because I'm so sharing today. I just want to show you all the shares. All right, thumbs up if you can see it. You guys do know it's just a litmus test, right? Making sure you're awake. I know you can see it.
One thing I noticed when I did my listing agreement is that when I did it through Dotlib, the initials automatically, filled in with the one exception, and that was for the dual representation.
Right.
It didn't fill in, even though you clicked, whether it does or does not. And I tested it again. I thought it was my error. Like
You got to add it, unfortunately.
that's the only spot that doesn't autofill. So just FYI.
Yeah. So we talked about, okay, do I have an association? We're gonna click on the GIS. We're gonna find out what neighborhood association it's under. Are we near an airport?
Yeah.
Are we near an airport?
Yes.
Do we need the airport advisory?
Yes.
Right, yeah, because it says we're in Davis-Monthan. Is Red Rock in an airport district?
No. It should
What about
be.
Pinal Air Park?
Well,
It
yeah.
should be, but I don't think it comes up
It
as considered. It is? Okay.
It is. It's Pinal Air Park. You're within 2 miles of flight patterns. So this is where you want to check these out. In Tucson Limits, very easy. Just put it in, it populates it for you. Now, any other information you need to have for your listing agreements? Not right now. But those are good because you can get your information together. If you want to know about floodplains, if you want to know what school, you're going to need this for the next page, but what school district this goes to, it tells you your school district, all the different schools you can go to, right? High school, middle school, kindergarten, all listed right there. What zoning is it? I think you're getting the point, right? All the information you need is right here, Pima County GIS. Do not rely on this BS. Use the GIS. Okay? You're welcome. You'll remember that now. All right, next form. This is the one you guys are going to hate the most. The residential profile sheet. This is super important because this is the physical representation of what you're going to be doing in the MLS. Put your ID in. That is your MLS number. I am co-listing with myself. I'm so nice. your office ID. If you do not know it, write it down. For those of you at 495, your MLS number is 478306. And if you are at KLP, yours is 4783. You're going to need to know those numbers.
What? Say that all again, because that just went right over my head.
Your MLS ID test for KLP is 4783.
So that's a question I have. I've been going to KLP for all this training and all that stuff, but I'm technically with Sierra Vista.
Right, and Sierra Vista is a subsidiary of the KLP office.
But they
real estate license number would be out of the Sierra Vista office. You'd be a little different because you have yours down there is like KWS something. Yeah. It's different in Sierra Vista because it's a different governing body, but for the mass of people, one or the other. But that's it. It's important to know it. You're one of the only Sierra Vista agents on the call that's working out of that office, primarily exclusive. So knowing that, but if you're writing a contract out of KLP proper, it's 4783. Okay. Again, address information should all be in there. Country. This is confusing because on the listing agreement, it asks for county. On here, it asks for country, which is stupid because you're selling a house in Arizona. Rant over. Thank you. Construction, depending on what it is, single family residence, manufacturing, single residence, whatever, make sure you select the right one. Conditions, existing, the tax year. Now we're getting interesting. We need to go figure out some information, right? How do we get the tax information, guys?
Tax info.
Yep, you can go to the tax assessor's website. You can go into the tax search. You can go into the old record if there is one on MLS and click tax info. It's going to take you to the CRS, and right here is another great wealth of knowledge you're going to want to have because it tells us our lot, the orientation. This is north, south, east, west. So this house actually faces northeast. It tells us all the information we want to know. It's also got the parcel tax ID. It has the township range section, their mailing address, current owners, the lien history on the house, the assessment year, the assessment amount. Now we've got taxes. Round up to the nearest dollar if you need to, but 2341. 33 is our tax for 2019. So we're going to put it in. And assessments is 0 because they didn't have any. Area is the area of town it's in. So this one we happen to know is central.
East.
Is this one east?
85710 is kind of east, isn't it?
East central, whatever. That's what we would look on the map. So this one is, they marked it as east too. So then you have history of the house, loan history. And now you've got square footage. How many rooms total, not bedrooms, total rooms. How many stories? 2-car garage, a pool, other geographic information. And then what's super important is you got your lot size and acreage. Now you don't have to do the math. You don't have to do 87 times 101 times 100 times 83. You don't have to rely on your mathing skills that you learned from real estate school, right? How many square feet are in an acre? Not you, Jason.
43,650. 43,650.
43,650 or
560.
560.
560. See, if she would have done the math, her acreage amount would have been off just a little bit. It'd have been 0.19, not 0.2. That's why I like to use the resources that are out there at the county already, because they do the math, they do the mathing for you, so it's all filled out. And you're going to need all of that when you're filling this in. I'm not going to go over everything in here because each one of them in itself is very simple. You just have to select the right one and go through. Co-op fee is 3% because we put that on the contract, right? That was the cooperating broker. If there's a seller's bonus, variable commission, yes or no. Variable commission is if you as the listing broker agree to receive a lower fee if you bring the buyer. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I will do 5% overall, which is 3% the list side, 2% to the buy side in the event that I procure the buyer. We have to notate that variable commission because if you guys both have identical offers, one's for 270, one's for 270, both cash, both quick close, who's got a stronger offer?
Say it again.
You do, because you'd be less commission if you were going to be a variable commission.
That's why variable commission is important to know that. So when you're looking at MLS listings too, check for variable commission because you're competing with the listing broker too. So if the listing broker brings another buyer, it's a lower commission rate. So that's effectively making their offer $2,700 better. Quick math, 1% of 270, just saying. I'm getting there. Jason's teaching me all his math skills.
You, Dan, that selling broker bonus, is that where your additional compensation 269 goes or no?
No, the selling broker is the buyer's agent.
Oh.
So like this situation is, you won't see it right now, but in tough markets, additional $1,000 commission paid to the buyer's agent if sold prior to November 1st. That would be a bonus. That would be on this line. Method of title should be fee simple if we know it's condo, co-op, or leasehold. Limited service, yes or no. Limited service is if you're just doing this and putting it in MLS, not representing the seller, not marketing it, nothing, just put it in MLS. You charged them $500 to do all this nonsense. You walk away, that's limited service. Listing agreement is exclusive right to sell with reservations. It's exclusive right to sell. You can see it right on the top of our listing agreements. Distress is REO or none. Who lives there? And you can kind of see how it's very easy to fill in the rest of it. Find the info, fill it in. Property descriptions, agent remarks, however you want to, and then go through in each one of these sections and fill it out. It's a one-story house. It's, made out of stone. It's a Spanish mission with a rolled roof. I don't know. I just made a very ugly house in my head. But make sure you're actually getting the correct information. So this is hard to fill out if you haven't seen the house. So sometimes I will print this and bring it with me so I can fill it out when I'm going there. Again, never rely solely on input information. Now I said solely. You can check it out. You can reference it. Like, hey, I don't know how would you call this contemporary? Would you call it modern? I don't know. And you see, oh, it's contemporary owned. Don't rely solely on what agents before you have done. We've all seen agents that just phone it in and do a shit job. Make sure we're not copying somebody who did that. It may be perfect, might be great, but we want to double check. All right, we're going to move on from all of this. Make sure you input everything in every box everywhere. And if you have questions that come up there, you can call or text me. We'll go through each, like, hey, I don't know how to say this or anything like that. But we need to make sure it's filled out. What's important on this form is that our sellers choose an option. This is what's allowing us to market their home. That's why it's super important we get this signed in conjunction a listing agreement. You're going to want the last one signed with, it does not restrict any of the internet provisions listed above. So take some time to read those. But the last one's kind of what you want. Again, seller's name, their signature, listing broker name. It's going to fill in Keller Williams, Southern Arizona here because it's picking up one piece of information. It's going to replicate it. So you're probably going to have to take this out if it says Lisa Sullivan. But you are the authorized signature. And we can also, if we needed to, we could use Keller Williams, Southern Arizona if it's in there. Just saying, because sometimes it'll populate. Again, you are authorized to sign this form. Any questions on that form?
I'm looking at the armless version and it is so different.
Yes, it is.
And very
effectively
deficient.
The same, laid out differently.
And it's deficient. It doesn't have like those opt-outs. It doesn't have. Yeah, it's very.
No, we are definitely way more versed there. All right, lead-based paint. Definitely needed if the house is built 78 or prior. We need to make sure we select one of these two options here. Seller's initials, listing agent initials, sellers and listing agent sign. Because the buyers and buyer's agent signs. HOA form, you fill out page 1. So seller's name, the date you filled it out, all the information you can gather. Now, if you can't get a hold of anyone at the MLS, or sorry, anyone at the HOA, you can do some research in the neighborhood. And that's just going back and looking at all the sold properties that happen in that neighborhood, pulling the documents and looking at their HOA forms. Because if you see the same information 5-6 times, deem it reliable, but still always get more information. The best accurate information is to call the HOA, give their fee structure, have them help you fill it out so that it's done right. And then have your client sign page 1 only. So some of these are crazy. Like there are capital improvement fees of 1% of the sales price to like Rancho Sarita. Massive, massive hits. Now, the most important thing for your timing is the coming soon. If you're taking a listing and the sellers are not going to be ready for a while, beyond 21 days, like saying, hey, they need some time, get the listing signed, get an exempt delay put in saying, hey, we're exempt right here. The listing input, the MLS will be delayed until a specific date. So the way you can look at it is within 21 days, because it says right here, up to 21 days. So within 21 days, we go live. We do a coming soon. This allows us to market it in the MLS as coming soon, and then automatically goes live in that date. Or we do an exempt delay, which means I'm keeping it completely out of the MLS. I'm not doing coming soon. I'm not marketing anything until this date. And in the event that you get like, oh, hey, Dan, we're ready for photos. We're like a week and a half, 2 weeks out. Great. I'm going to send them another one of these forms, updating it to a coming soon so I can do a coming soon listing in the MLS, start marketing it, get the photos, and go live on the date that we discussed. Or we keep it out of the MLS altogether. This is good for people in witness protection, judges, high-profile lawyers and attorneys. I'm saying you'll see this used. Now, you get this all filled out and signed, and they're ready to go, and they want to go live today or tomorrow. Hey, they call you at 9 o'clock. Robin, we're ready to go live tomorrow. Just send them this form again to sign it, and it stops the exempt and allows you to go live at that moment. Any questions on the coming soon exempt? I know I'm going fast, but I want to jump into the other part of it. It's going to take a little bit longer than 5 minutes.
So on that, like that one came up as broker Lisa Sullivan. Do you want it to have her name or Keller Williams, Southern Arizona?
Yeah, I like her name because she's the listing broker.
Okay.
She's the broker. We are the brokerage. That's the defining point. So, all right. The next couple of forms you guys have in your templates is your wire fraud market conditions. All these things are just pretty much click a box and sign. So you don't have to do much thought behind them, right? Do we feel a little bit more comfortable with the paperwork side of the listing right now? I'm sure once we get to that process, we'll go through it more, but I want to jump into the actual listing side of it. So we're going to hop on over to our MLS, flexmls.com. Actually, I want to show you another cool thing too. So your gateway, if you guys want to steal my password, you're more than welcome to. It's just my middle name and my favorite numbers. Now you got to figure out both of those things. For bonus points, what is my middle name?
Charles.
It's Dan, duh, Big Dan Caldwell. Come on, people.
I was gonna say big.
Awesome. Right here on the CRS data, if you need to look up a property that's not polling, you can click on your CRS data and we can search any county. All you got to do is type in the county. Because like we showed, the GIS gives us a lot of information. If you need some stuff, we can do, Cochise County. and find more information there. What's Rowdy's address, Jason? 33925?
Yeah, Alvarado Street. Let me double check.
South Alvarado?
I don't think it has a south. Cancel. Hold on. 33925 South Alvarado Street.
So
Red
see
Rock.
how it's actually in Pinal County, not Cochise. So it's in a different county altogether. A lot of them will have this link right here, view assessor's report, which is the same as the GIS just for Pinal County. And you can see how it gives me a lot of information there. I just wanted to show you that workaround. So in case you needed some information for a property that was outside of Pima proper, you'd have it. All right, back in the MLS. We're going to start up here on the menu. You should have this add or change menu here. If you do not, send Lisa an email, lisa-sullivan@kw.com, so you can open up your access. We're going to add a listing. Upon adding a listing, we're going to select property type residential. If there's a co-listing member, it could be me, hey, or one of your teammates. Make sure you put that in there. Then we move on. This is a regular MLS parent listing. We have no childs right now. So we go to address, same thing. We're going to do our street address, which is 7224 East 34th Street. Notice how I had to go in each different box. If it's got a post direction, which I haven't seen yet, then we got Tucson. Can you guys see the scroll thing on this?
Yeah.
Cool. 85710.
What's a post direction? What's that mean?
So it'd be like 7224 East 34th Street Southwest.
Oh.
There's like 2-3 streets in the county that have it, in the city. Not a lot. We try not to.
Yeah, it's confusing as all hell. Thank you, New York, for post directions. All right, so we've got MLS. We got our tax ID. I grabbed the wrong thing. Tax ID. Whoop. This is why I got to close down the. And now we populate our tax data. This should populate the same information you got from the CRS, which is important to go through on the. Now when it stops spinning, we go to the main fields. It's going to ask us, is this your property? Yes. Use this location. And then it moves us into the next page. Is this a comparable listing? No. A comparable listing is if you're just putting a house in that for sale by owner, and you're just adding it to the MLS for somebody can use for a comparable. Taxes, remember how it was 234133? So it pulled it up for us. Taxes are for dwelling and land. Legal description. Again, we go back into our GIS. Legal description, area east, it already does it for us. The subdevelopment, this is the one I will rely on this for real quick. Marana Grande, and it's also part of your legal description.
Is it Manana or Marana?
Manana Grande, tomorrow bigger. Manana?
Mañana grande.
Manana Grande. So tomorrow's bigger. Is that what it means, right?
Yeah, this is Cindy.
No? Big tomorrow? Now, township, range, and section. These are going to be township, range, section. So this is very similar to the last form, right? You're filling out every box, every piece, and stuff like that. I'm not going to fill it out because I got 5 minutes left and I want to go over a couple more things with you. This is where your list price is. So we said 270. If you're doing range pricing, don't. Listing date is the day we take the listing. If it's coming soon, we change it to coming soon. And then it allows us the go live date, which is up to 21 days later. So let's say we take the listing today. We're good for photographs tomorrow or Thursday or whatnot. We'll put them in later, but you need at least one photograph in the system to go live on a coming soon. So you just pick your next date. We're going to go live on the 5th with an expiration date of Co-op fee is what you agreed upon in the contract, 3%, right? And then the bonus, if there is any, you get if house is sold by November 21st, extra $1,000 to the seller's broker, blah, blah, blah. Variable commission, no. Method of title, fee simple. Now you see why filling out that profile sheet was so tedious, because you're going to re-input all that same information, but now it gives you a secondary. You've gone and researched it. You made it sure it was correct. You have all that information, and the seller has signed off on it, because if they want you to put something completely different, they need to sign it. And that's why you guys have the seller's property, or the seller sign your profile sheets. And then just go through and you fill out the rest of it. All here, right? All of this information, again, check boxes, go through everything. All the information is listed in one of those resources I've already given you. Write a really cool property description. Be playful in your language. Come check out this dog-friendly patio with amazing backyard or barkyard views. There you go. Yeah, Jason caught that. Thank you. Agent only remarks is something that's only going to show up in the agent only remarks, like title already started with Catalina title security, please title with Robin Freeman. I don't know. Just whatever you want to put there. No showings until 3 p.m. So you got your showing instructions here, directions to the house. That's where you put all this stuff in these boxes. Then you go to details, which is going to be the exact same thing as that profile sheet, all the check boxes, everything you can check out. And it's going to tell you how many you can select between 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 4, one of these is 1 and 20. So make sure you fill it all out. People are searching for these things. So if it has solar, make sure you put on the green part for solar. If it has a putting green in the backyard, make sure you put that on the putting green right here. If it has a dual master bathrooms, if it's got a walk-in closets, if it's got a fireplace, make sure you put all these things. These are the search indexers of the MLS. If you're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with north facing on a cul-de-sac horse property with a putting green, is it very specific? Are you hoping that an agent put in every bit of those details so you don't have to scroll through the pictures?
Yep.
That's why it's important to do a good job on input. It'll take you about 45 minutes to do it after you know what you're doing. I only say this because last night, sitting on my couch with my laptop in my lap and my dog biting my foot, it took me 45 minutes to do one. And that was me jumping from screen to screen and putting information, but that's just part of the process. Now, everything is filled out. We're good to go. We're just waiting on photographs. We're going to go up here to the right and we're going to click Save Incomplete. When you save incomplete, it's going to allow you to save your process in the system without loading it into the MLS, where you can come back to and fill it out later. The importance of this screen is where you're going to upload your documents. If you have an HOA form, if you have an airport advisory, if you have a consent to limited representation, a well, water, a solar addendum, the SPDS, the clue, all these things that we need per the contract, if you can get it beforehand and get it uploaded into the documents of the MLS, the buyer's agent has that right then and there, and it makes your life easy. But I want to show you, because this house was built before 1978, it is indeed lead-based paint advisory, right? We have to have a lead-based paint form before we can go live. That's why I'm saying required. So you can add your documents, you can add your videos, and you can add your photos right from here. Great. Okay. Now we're done with that. We're waiting on photos. Photos are done. We just need to put them in the system, right? So let's say, okay, we're completely out of our MLS. And now we got to log back in, go through the whole process. We're going to go up to menu. We're going to go to My Incomplete. My Incomplete is going to allow us to edit. Edit. Upload your photos. So we're going to add our photos right here. Just add them and then return to listing. Then we go into listing information, double check it. We're going to double check our address. We're going to double check our main fields. We're going to make sure that nothing's missing or out of place. Make sure you're coming soon and go live dates are right. And when you're absolutely sure you're ready to go live, you click add listing. And that will give you your MLS number, And the cool thing is if you screwed anything up and left anything out, it'll give you a notice. Hey, you're missing something. Now let's say that it's already in MLS, it's already active, right? We're gonna go in here, change listing. This is the change listings, these ones that are active. So like this one here. It gives you a lot more functionality to it once it's in the system. So I can actually click pending on this one because I just put it under contract today and it's good. That's how we do it. We go back, menu, change listing, go to the next one.
So Dan, at what point do we change the status to pending?
After you get through the appraisal contingencies, typically where I see it.
Okay.
Where I see it clear to close. So I got to jump off to another meeting, guys, but I want to jump into those things. So I change it to pending after we know we're closing the deal. Pending means clear to close.
All right.
So it's after the appraisal, after all the work's done, clear to like 3 or 4 days before closing.
Okay.
Or like today, we closed today on those 2 deals. So honestly, if I wasn't teaching this right now, I probably wouldn't have done it until tomorrow when I got the checks and I was like, hey, oh crap, I got to do this.
Once we're under contract though, then we change it to active contingent.
Yeah. Once under contract, that day, active contingent. So now you guys have the process of what forms you need. You can recap this video. We're gonna put it back out there live soon. I'm gonna try to get it uploaded faster. You got the forms you need, a brief overview of what each form is gonna have, what to fill out in the listing agreement, who to, like when you go to send your paperwork, it's the same as .loop, DocuSign, or Transaction Desk, wherever you're gonna use. Send them to get signed, that's great. Now we have how to put the listing in the system, how to update an incomplete listing, how to make it go live, and how to update a live listing. That gives you everything you need to know about doing a listing except getting a listing. So I have given you this much. I ask that you go out there and get the rest of it.
All right.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for hanging in there. We only lost 2 of you, and I'm proud of that. We will see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp for scripts and tricks. I'll see you there. Have a wonderful afternoon.
See you.
Thank you.